guys are a part of all that. Our next speaker is the Seattle editor for one of my favorite online web publications, grist.org. It's an environmental news website with a sense of humor, and no really, she says. She writes about music, pop culture, green living, which basically means one day she's interviewing Mike D of the Beastie Boys, and the next she's reviewing the cushiest brand of eco-friendly toilet paper. She enjoys telling people that she's a humor writer, but hates when they call her a hippie environmentalist. In a past life, Sarah studied marine biology on a beautiful sandy beach in North Carolina, and nowadays she just pines away for warm, sunny days while pointing out sea anemones on the rocky tide pools of the Puget Sound. Please welcome Sarah Van Schagen.
So as John said, I write for Grist, and we cover topics ranging from politics to business, climate, green living, food, and one thing we've been writing a lot about is the new green economy. And we try to write about it with a sense of humor so that it's not so depressing. We don't want gloom and doom. We want positive information, and I think that's what the think tank events are all about. Is it's not a sacrifice, it's not something scary or depressing. There's a lot of positive stuff happening out there. So since my job is to tell stories, I want to start by telling an inspiring story about someone who is an unexpected environmentalist, someone who is definitely a part of this new green economy. His name is Sean Saylor, and he is a fourth-generation dairy farmer in Rockwood, Pennsylvania. And I met him on a road trip last fall, driving across the country to interview people doing cool stuff. And so Sean runs this dairy farm. His cows produce 6,000 gallons of milk a day, and they also produce a lot of poop. And he has put together a system that collects all of that waste and puts it into a methane digester. So that poop sits in an underground tank, and over about 15 to 20 days, the methane gas rises off of the waste and it's collected, and the waste dries out and becomes compost, which is used as a fertilizer for his fields, where he's growing the food for the cows who eat the food and produce more waste. And meanwhile, that methane gas is being converted into energy. And he's using it to power his entire farm. He's totally off the grid. And he's also selling that energy back to the grid for other people in his town to use. And the way he was able to install this system and set this up for himself is by partnering with a company called Native Energy. And Native Energy sells carbon credits. So when someone like myself needs to come out to an event like this, all the way from Seattle, right now there's no easy way to do that carbon-free yet. And so I buy carbon credits to make up for the carbon dioxide that was spewed by the plane that I flew out here. And that money goes through Native Energy to people like Sean Saylor, who is using it to install these systems. And he's actually installing a second methane digester system that will be used entirely for selling power back to the grid. So that means the people in his town have the option of using that alternative energy and not using the coal plants or other energy sources that are using a lot of carbon. So I'm guessing not many of you are dairy farmers and that you don't produce enough waste from a methane digester in your backyard. Maybe you do. But two things you can take away from this. One is look into buying carbon credits from a company like Native Energy. You can calculate your carbon footprint online, find out how much energy you use during a year, and you can buy credits, and that money will go towards supporting projects like Sean's. You can also, when you're buying concert tickets, like when you bought your ticket for Rothbury, sometimes there are options for a green ticket. It might cost a little bit extra, but that money goes towards carbon offsets. And also, Check in with your local utility company. Sometimes you can choose a green option. Maybe you pay a little bit extra per month and you get your power from a renewable resource as opposed to a fossil-fueled resource.
All right. Thank you, Sarah.